It may have been spun into a Hollywood tale, but the idea of a designated survivor is in fact very real. Each year, there's one secret person who's ready to assume the top job in the event our government is wiped out. So what's it like to be a real-life designated survivor? Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chang.
Some kind of explosion in or around the Capitol building.
It is the unthinkable, the doomsday scenario. A catastrophic attack on U.S. soil, the president, Congress, the upper levels of government, all wiped out. While it's the stuff of dark thrillers, the creators of ABC's most talked about show, Designated Survivor, have something very real in mind.
Sir, you are now the president of the United States.
So this is your presidential motorcade.
Well, I'm seeing it for the first time. This is a small one. Normally there's about 16 cars.
The series marks a return to television for Kiefer Sutherland, playing a meek, low-level cabinet secretary.
I, Thomas Adam Kirkman, do solemnly swear.
Who's thrust fully unprepared into the presidency.
So help me God.
Though firmly in the realm of make-believe, it's based on a very real, extremely classified safeguard known as the Continuity of Government Plan.
The problem that the Continuity of Government Plan tries to solve is something called decapitation.
ABC News consultant and former White House counterterrorism official Dick Clark ran the program for nearly a decade. He's the only official to ever deploy it in a crisis during 9/11. While President Bush was in the air, Vice President Cheney was rushed to an underground bunker.
On 9/11, I activated the system, the Continuity of Government system, and we asked the Speaker of the House to leave Washington. We landed a helicopter on the grounds of the Capitol, got the Speaker to the helicopter, and flew him out of Washington, because we didn't know at that point whether or not the White House or the Capitol were going to be hit by hijacked airplanes.
It's like something out of a spy novel, using secret nuclear-proof bunkers, like this now declassified one under the posh Greenbrier Hotel in the mountains of West Virginia. The concept, a remnant of the Cold War. But each year, a cabinet member is still asked to skip the State of the Union address.
They are then put in a secure location with a support staff before the State of the Union begins, and they're brought back only the next morning.
Former U.S. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales once served as the designated survivor during President Bush's 2007 address to a joint session of Congress.
Madam Speaker, Vice President Cheney, members of Congress, distinguished guests, and fellow citizens.
My FBI detail drove me to Andrews Air Force Base. There were a group of individuals there from various departments and agencies, all carrying these black binders, and their job was to advise me in the event that I assumed the presidency. And then I settled in front of a large monitor and watched President Bush give his State of the Union.
We must have the will to face difficult challenges and determined enemies.
He talks about his experience in his new book, True Faith and Allegiance.
It suddenly hit me in the middle of that speech somewhere. Oh my gosh, I looked around the airplane, I thought, oh my gosh. I've experienced some pretty big moments before with President Bush. I've advised him through 2 wars. I was on the Oval Office porch on the evening of September 11th when President Bush came home that historic day. It really kind of hit me sitting on that airplane, and I looked around the plane and at those that were with me, and I wondered, would we be up to governing a wounded nation?
Where's the president?
In the bunker.
The White House going down is often a Hollywood plotline. Whether it's rogue foreign terror cells and Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus has fallen. Olympus has fallen. They've taken the White House.
2 timing double agents on Air Force One.
Get off my plane.
Or tentacle-covered alien invaders on Independence Day.
Welcome to Earth.
This time, it's a murky terror attack. And the show invited us to this warehouse-turned-Navy SEAL training base.
So this will be the area where you actually film the scene.
He and I will be here. They'll be actually training through the compound.
Action, please.
The action scenes are high-octane, but pondering how an average Joe might react to suddenly becoming commander-in-chief...
Aaron, where are we going?
Presidential Emergency Operations Center.
...is what makes Designated Survivor a thinking man's thriller.
This character has to spend a lot of time thinking about what it means to be a good president, what it means to be a good leader. What do you think it takes to be a good president?
I think maybe you have to try and not be a good president, and you have to try and be a good person.
You're also one of the EPs on the series. Do you ever get tempted to bring the current presidential climate into this storyline?
Well, I think it's impossible not to. Certainly in the context of our show, we have an opportunity to overcome the divide that seems to have taken hold in America. Give me a kiss.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, little P.
It's like, it's so nice to be able to see him play a loving, sweet family man. Is that a side of you that the audiences are going to be able to connect to?
Well, I think over the course of 24, and we made 216 episodes, I think the only time he smiled was when he shot Nina Myers. So I smile a lot more in this show.
Get them to hold their weapons now!
Sutherland, of course, is referring to counterterrorism agent Jack Bauer, his badass alter ego for nearly a decade on 24.
Your character is not a hardcore political operative. He's also not Jack Bauer. He's also
Not by
somebody
a long shot. I'm looking around here behind me and all of these weapons. My character wouldn't know how to hold that, let alone fire it. And Jack Bauer was very proficient in that. But the one thing that they do have in common is this commitment to serve publicly.
This is the nuclear football.
In the pilot, they bring out the nuclear football to you, and you say, "What's the code? Do I do it?" You know, it's.
Should I have an eye scan? And do you need my fingerprints or an eye scan or something?
No, sir. It's not like the movies.
The guy laughs at me and says, "Yeah, we don't do that."
The show going to great lengths to keep things realistic.
We're here on the Toronto set of Designated Survivor. The cast and crew is hard at work, and all of this is a stand-in for a swanky neighborhood in Alexandria, Virginia. Every detail well thought out, all the way down to the Washington news van.
The president's speechwriter, a veteran actor with real-life White House cred.
Mr. President, maybe the country's just not ready yet.
Cal Penn, everyone's favorite stoner from Harold and Kumar.
That was the best meal of my life.
Even played a terrorist on 24. But then famously left Hollywood to serve in the Office of Public Engagement in the Obama administration.
Compare and contrast the working conditions inside Beltway versus inside Hollywood.
Oh, no, you can't, though. That's
Come
what I'm
on,
saying.
I want
but
the
it's
absurd
so far-fetched.
to the
It's so
sublime.
absurd. Look, I have an air-conditioned trailer, and somebody will bring me a coffee if I want it here. There.
You're in a cramped quarter.
I'm eating vending machine sandwiches and working 19 hours a day. I loved that, but this is definitely the make-believe version of that.
On set, Penn became a de facto fact-checker.
If you get the Cal Penn seal of approval, that's a good thing.
That's flattering, thank you. No, I think it's just little things, right? It's how many people would be in a particular office, and would somebody actually run into this person, or are we taking a creative license with it?
They even brought in a hard-hitting political consultant from Washington, D.C.
You were a speechwriter.
I was for 2 senators and 4 cabinet secretaries. I worked on a couple of State of the Union addresses.
Sorry, sir. I told him you were busy.
It's all right. How can I help you, General?
How realistic is the Oval Office set you built?
Remarkably, in the White House men's room, there's one of those old-style mechanical shoe buffers with a red and a black brush. We have that. I mean, we've gotten down to some really fine detail.
It's weird.
And while they might not get everything right, no doubt all the drama will feel true to life.
Our thanks to Juju for that report. And you can catch Designated Survivor right here on ABC Wednesday at 10 p.m.